welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Lisa, and I love everything colorful makeup. Yes, I do, especially indie brands. And welcome to another episode, another month of music inside the makeup. And this one is on the icon, the legend, the man who has recently passed, Ozzy Osbourne. And we're also gonna get into Black Sabbath as well. It came in the other day, and eventually, hopefully, I will be able to grab the brushes and the makeup bag and maybe a couple of lipsticks. And the whole full collection, Jolie Beauty and Ozzy Osbourne collaboration collection. It is a huge collection. I think the total cost was like $586 when on launch day. That is very, very pricey, but understandable because it is a very large collection. This is the palette, and this is really cool. I love the fact that she was able to do this. I don't know, I didn't even really want to use this, but I couldn't help myself. This will never go anywhere. When I am done with it and it is out of date, it is going in a shadow box for sure. Here's the back, and it does come in its own carton, and it has a protector. And I'm gonna get into when we start the look. I'm gonna read the back, and this is a timeline, which I thought was just genius that they did this. I'm actually going to put the date that he passed, because this is like a timeline of just segments of his life here. And so I'm going to read all this when we get into the look. And this is the look that I did create with this palette. Here is what she is giving. Here it says, I'm going through changes. You've got the bat, Ozzy Osbourne, Jolie Beauty, and the cross. This is a beautiful color story. And I think it was really smart that they did this, not just a straight up red palette, not a straight up red or purple or black or something like that. I think that this was just brilliant, and it's a beautiful color story because this is really versatile. You've got browns and the neutrals in here, so you can do an everyday look, or you can go just, well, batshit crazy if you'd like, and do whatever you want to. The multi-chromes in here. There's foils, multi-chromes, metallics, duos, shimmers, satins, the matte formula. I have never tried anything from Jolie Beauty until now. The only UK brand I've ever tried and absolutely love, as you know if you've been with me for a minute, is Cosmic Brushes, or Cosmic Beauty. To now know about Jolie Beauty's formula and know that this is really good, and I can't wait to try more from them. And know that actually Jolie Beauty is like music themed makeup as well, from what I have seen, which I think is fucking awesome. Music inside the makeup seems to do fairly decent, especially for, the amount of subscribers that I have, which 430. Thank you so much to every single one of you who have stuck it out and stayed with me. I have fun. I enjoy talking about the artists, and then someday whether or not I put music in here without getting copyright, we'll figure that one out later, but I have fun doing it. If you're new, music inside the makeup, I talk about the artist and then picking a palette and a song or a couple songs, and then creating either one look or two looks. And we're gonna also do swatching this whole palette with you as well. And we're gonna do a neutral look though. In true Ozzy fashion, the comical comedian that he was, on his Spotify, you go to his bio and it says, if you have to read a bio about who Ozzy Osbourne is, what rock are you living under? And then it just has his other platforms. Like I started laughing, and I'm like, okay, so I went to Black Sabbath, and it kind of intertwines with him anyway. So we're gonna read from the Black Sabbath bio. It is public knowledge. I always give credit where credit is due to the author. Let me know what you think about this look in the comments, because I love it. I'll tell you what I did use in this palette to create this look, which was quite a few shades in here. The 3 multi-chromes that I have on my lid is Mr. Crowley, Hall of Fame, Scream, and I also took Aston. I also used this burgundy color, this black, this here, so the black, this is Black Rain. Up here says Ultimate Sin. This one is Changes that I used. This brighter red I used is Ozfest. And on the lower lash line with the yellow and also orange up here. This orange here, and also use the white on the inner corner. So the white is Blizzard. This is number 9. This yellow is Sharon. This orangey brown is Osmosis. So I used quite a few shades to create this look, and I had a blast doing it. I wanted to show you how versatile this is and do a neutral everyday look on this eye. So like I said, that's what we're going to be doing. So let's get into music inside the makeup for August. Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath. All right, I did take off the other look, and I did do another look, as you can see, and also started the look that you and I are going to finish together. Hopefully I don't get any lipstick on my teeth. Cross your fingers for me. 30,867,599 listeners a month for Black Sabbath, including myself. A mental institution whose influence cannot be overstated. Black Sabbath pioneered the genre as they constructed the framework for subsequent subgenres within metal, with entire movements rising from blueprints laid out in single Sabbath songs. From the end of the 1960s and throughout the entirety of the 70s, the band became legendary for the doomy chemistry between its players. Ozzy Osbourne's primal vocals, Tony Iommi's seismic riffing, Bill Ward's blunty, powerful drumming, and Geezer Butler's thunderous bass lines, all congealed into a sinister breed of hard rock and occult-fixated songcraft the world had never heard before. This untouchable original lineup was responsible for metal masterpieces like 1970's Paranoid, but when they splintered in 1979, Black Sabbath soldiered on with a cast of various different singers, most notably Ronnie James Dio, for a pair of albums in the 80s, while Osbourne applied his Prince of Darkness persona to a successful solo career that would span decades. There were various reunions and partial reformations of the first Black Sabbath lineup, aiming to recapture some of their early evil energy later period outings, like 2013's 13. The band formed in Birmingham, England in 1968 under the ill-fitting name, the Polka Tulk Blues Band. Iommi and Ward, who had just left the pub blues outfit mythology, were looking to take the genre in a more robust direction. They enlisted the services of Butler and Osbourne, both of whom had played together in a group called Rare Breed. And by the end of the year, they were operating under the monkier Earth. The transition from Earth to Black Sabbath took place the following year, after Osbourne and Butler penned a song that was inspired by the 1963 Boris Karloff horror film of the same name. The resulting Black Sabbath a funeral slab of blast furnace forged red built around the augmented fourth tectonic interval, better known as the Devil's Interval, would serve as the opening volley on their explosive, eponymous 1970 debut. Released on Vertigo Records, the more progressive subsidiary of Philips Phonogram, the bulk of the Roger Bain-produced LP was recorded in a single day. Only a handful of guitar overdubs. Iommi's signature sound was lent considerable by the fact that he tuned his guitar a half step down to provide some slack for a pair of fingers that saw their tips removed in a factory accident, along with the rain, thunder, and tolling bells that so effectively introduced the group to the world, would be added later. The record was released on Friday the 13th, which helped kickstart the band's reputation for populating the fertile crime scene that is history with plenty of blood spatter. Flush with eventual genre classics like The Wizard, NIB, and the aforementioned title cut, Black Sabbath, was initially dismissed by critics. Retrospective reviews were far more reverent, but it managed to reach the UK top 10 and hold court for over a year on the US top 40, eventually being certified platinum. With the surprise success of Black Sabbath, the band wasted little time in getting back into the studio. Released just 7 months after their debut, Paranoid would spawn 2 of their biggest singles in Iron Man and the nervy, hard-hitting title track, the latter of which would be the band's only top 10 hit. The LP went straight to the top of the UK charts and sold over 4 million copies in the US. Deeper yet no less immediate cuts like the air raid siren-led politically charged War Pigs and the trippy mellow doom anthem Planet Caravan revealed a group that had far more creative gas in the tank than their detractors would have cared to admit. Paranoid also afforded Sabbath their first measure of controversy after an inquest was made regarding an American nurse who committed suicide while listening to the LP. For many, the name Black Sabbath would become synonymous with Satanism throughout the 70s and 80s. Sabbath continued to blow the unholy horn of plenty with albums 3 and 4, released in 1971. The Brutish Master of Reality was certified double platinum on the strength of fan favorites like Sweet Leaf, Children of the Grave, and Into the Void. The latter 2 of which Iommi downtuned 3 semitones in order to release even more string tension. Butler followed suit, and the deep earth pummeling that followed has been widely cited as the augur of sludge, doom, and stoner metal. The LP also featured the Iommi composed, Butler penned After Forever, which, much to the confusion of some of the band's more zealous critics, reflected the bass player's deep Catholic faith. Volume 4, recorded in Los Angeles, arrived the following year and was the first Sabbath outing with Roger Bain handling production duties. Iommi and then manager Patrick Meehan would co-produce the album. Certainly the group's most ambitious outing to date, Volume 4, also represented Black Sabbath at their most chemically dependent. The album's working title was Snowblind. Shipping in speaker boxes filled with cocaine. Oh, I don't know if this is, YouTube is going to like this very much. But it's all public knowledge on Spotify. And turning their rented Bel Air house into a boozy black cauldron of rock star excess. Nevertheless, they managed to stay just in control long enough to piece together a dark, introspective gem of a record that didn't spawn any hits. the caustic riffgasm that is Supernaut. Must have charted in some other more forgiving dimension, but still topped the album charts. Volume 4 dutifully reflected Sabbath's debauched collective headspace at the time, but retained enough of the blue-collar might that fueled their early works to connect. Arriving in 1973, Sabbath's Bloody Sabbath was another success, doubling down on the more progressive elements of Volume 4, even going so far as to tap Rick Wakeman from Yes to contribute keyboards to the track Sabbath, bolstered by the now iconic title cut as well as the punishing Killing Yourself to Live. The LP not only resonated with fans, but elicited positive comments from mainstream critics as well, becoming Sabbath's 5th platinum album in the US and earning their first silver certification in the UK. Sabotage, released in 1975, saw the band returning to the bottom heavy molten metal attack of their debut, for the most part dialing back on the orchestral flourishes and studio trickery of their last 2 outings. It also arrived in the midst of continuous litigation between the band and their now former manager, Mian. Between the bruising hole in the sky, the angst-fueled symptom of the universe, and the nearly 9-minute epic, The Rid. The band sounded both reinvigorated and wrecked, like a bloody beast filled with bullets, standing on the corpse of its captor. Fans and critics were kind, but the musical climate was changed both at home and abroad. The Black Sabbath were beginning to feel the chill. By 1976, the band was undergoing an internal struggle as well, having to contend with the increasingly frustrated and chemically dependent frontman who was looking to strike out on his own. Technical Ecstasy, 1976, and Never Say Die, 1978, despite going gold, suffered beneath the weight of both the band's substance abuse issues and their increasingly diminished position in popular music. Bands like The Clash and the Sex Pistols were on the rise, and Sabbath's brand of stalwart heavy blues rock was losing favor. During the recording of Never Say Die, Osbourne quit, eventually making his way back into the fold during the final sessions. But in 1979, after the touring in support of the album, he was fired from the group for good. Osbourne's departure and successful solo career may have signaled the end of an era for the group, but Black Sabbath weren't about to go down gently into the good night. At the suggestion of the band's new manager's daughter, Sharon Arden, later become Sharon Osbourne, Iommi, Butler, and Ward brought in ex-Rainbow frontman Ronnie James Dio to take over the vocal duties. Dio's powerful voice, as idiosyncratic and iconic as Osbourne's, but with a far more wholesale appeal, proved the perfect fit for Black Sabbath 2.0, released in 1980. Heaven and Hell was a critical and commercial success, becoming their 3rd highest selling LP after Paranoid and Master of Reality. That same year, while on tour, Ward had reached the apex of his alcoholism and announced that he too was leaving the group. Vinny Appice, the younger brother of legendary Vanilla Fudge drummer Carmine Appice, was brought in to replace him and would appear on the group's 10th studio outing, 1981's Mob Rules. The album received mixed reviews, but still managed to go gold in the US and cracked the UK Top 40 on the strength of the fiery title track, which also appeared in a different version in the cult animated adult fantasy film Heavy Metal. Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember Heavy Metal? Definitely, I'm showing my age. Gen Xers, hello. Black Sabbath's first ever concert album, Live Evil, was released in 1983. Recorded during the group's 1982 tour in support of Mob Rules, it presented an audio snapshot of the band at the peak of their technical power, technical powers, but failed to capture the internal tensions that were bubbling beneath all of the pick slides and pyrotechnics. Falling out with Iommi and Butler, Dio, and Apprice left the group in the middle of mixing the album and formed their own band. With the newly minted Dio issuing Holy Diver, that is one of my favorite songs of all time, and Osbourne releasing his third chart-topping solo LP, Bark at the Moon, Black Sabbath were at a definite crossroads. Undeterred, Iommi and Butler immediately began looking for new members with whom to start up the old machinery, eventually settling on Deep Purple's Ian Gillan on vocals and a freshly sober Bill Ward behind the kit. While it sold well initially, the resulting Born Again was a critical failure, a tone-deaf collection of super Sabbath tropes that would ultimately leave Iommi the last man standing. Even the tour in support of the album was a disaster, with Ward, who relapsed during recording, being replaced by Move, ELO drummer Bevan, and a cringe-inducing prop malfunction providing the inspiration for the 1984 mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap's now classic Stonehenge sequence. After the tour, Bevan left, Gillian rejoined Deep Purple, and Butler went solo, leaving Iommi no choice but to put the band on hiatus. What followed was a long period of near constant personal changes, with Iommi remaining the sole original member. Issued in 1986, the bluesy Seventh Star was, for all intents and purposes, an Iommi solo album. Record company pressure forced him to add the Black Sabbath moniker to the front cover. And 1987's Eternal Idol was the first to feature new semi-permanent vocalist Tony Martin. Hard rock heavyweight drummer Cozy Powell joined Iommi and Martin on 1989's Headless Cross and 1990's Viking-themed concept album Tear, but none of the initial post-Born Again LPs had much of the impact critically or commercially. Once again, the musical paradigm was shifting away from the hard rock heavy metal genre, and Black Sabbath were just trying to stay afloat. The generally well-received Dehumanizer, a Heaven and Hell, Mob Rules era reunion with Butler, Dio, and Vinnie Apprice provided the Black Sabbath name with a much-needed shot in the arm in 1992 and managed to sneak them back into the top 40 both at home and overseas. But it would prove to be a one-off affair. Arriving in 1994, Cross Purposes kept Butler on board and brought back Martin on vocals, but it failed to capitalize on any momentum left over from Dehumanizer's success. In the following years, disappointing Forbidden, the band's 18th studio LP, would be the last outing for Martin, as well as the last studio album for the band for nearly 18 years. Iommi, Butler, Ward, and Osbourne would eventually make their way back under the stage lights in 1997, culminating in the release of the Best Metal Performance Grammy Award-winning double live LP reunion. But it would be 16 years and a whole lot of Ozzy, who was eventually given his own reality TV show, before the band would bring the dark arts back to the recording studio. Released in 2013, the Rick Rubin produced 13, which also brought home a Grammy, this time for the single God Is Dead, would be Black Sabbath's final album. And in 2015, Osbourne, Iommi, and Butler, Ward refused to participate, announced that their upcoming world tour would be their last. The aptly named The End Tour, which concluded in their hometown of Birmingham, saw Black Sabbath closing the coffin lid on a nearly 50 year career in cementing their legacy as the harbingers of heavy, sludge, stoner, and doom metal. A concert LP film of the performance was released in 2017. James Christopher Munger and Fred Thomas Rovey. And that is just a snippet of, you know, there's 50 years, that's decades of just a little snippet of history. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to read a little bit that I have found online, just a short history on Ozzy Osbourne as well. For this is Music Inside the Makeup is a majority about Ozzy and for Ozzy. And so, but I felt the need to also read about Black Sabbath and bring them, you know, the band into this as well, for the simple fact that that's kind of like where he gained you know, notoriety, and that was the start of it all. So we're going to read a little bit about Ozzy. Let's get to reading about the icon Ozzy Osbourne. John Michael Ozzy Osbourne was born December 3rd, 1948, and he passed away, sadly, July 22nd of this year. Now, I never had a chance to see Ozzy either, and I was actually supposed to go to Ozzfest one year, and it was one of those things, again, the sitter packed out. This had happened to me 3 times, y'all, okay? Yeah, and he was supposed to be at this Ozzfest up north as well, so it was, because of course he couldn't make every single Ozzfest, and so, yeah, which sucked, but you know what? I was raising babies. What can you know, back then, what are you gonna do? What you gonna do? He was an English singer, songwriter, and a media personality. He co-funded the pioneering heavy metal band Black Sabbath in 1968 and rose to prominence in the 1970s as their lead vocalist. During this time, he adopted the title Prince of Darkness. He performed on the band's first 8 studio albums, including Black Sabbath Paranoid, both 1970, and Master of Reality, 1971, before he was fired in 1979 due to his problems with alcohol and other drugs. Osbourne began a solo career in the 1980s and formed his band with Randy Rhoads and Bob Daisley, with whom he recorded the albums Blizzard of Oz in 1980 and Diary of a Madman 1981. Throughout the decade, he drew controversy for his antics both on stage and off stage, and was accused of promoting Satanism by the Christian right. Overall, Osbourne released 13 solo studio albums, the first 7 of which were certified multi-platinum in the United States. He reunited with Black Sabbath on several occasions. He rejoined from 1997 to 2005, and again in 2012 during the second reunion. He sang on the band's last studio album, 13, in 2013, before they embarked on a farewell tour that ended in 2017. And on July 5th, 2025, Osbourne performed his final show at the Back to the Beginning concert in Birmingham, having announced that it would be his last due to his health issues. Although he intended to continue recording music, he died 17 days later. Osbourne sold more than 100 million albums, including his solo work and Black Sabbath releases. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of Black Sabbath in 2006, and also as a solo artist, also in 2024. He was also inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame, both solo and with Black Sabbath, in 2005. He was honored with stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on April 12th, 2002, and Birmingham Walk of Stars on July 6th, 2007. At the 2014 MTV Europe Music Awards, he received the Global Icon Award. In 2015, he received the Ivor Novello Award for Lifetime Achievement from the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers, and Authors. Osbourne's wife and manager, Sharon, founded the heavy metal touring festival Ozzfest, which was held yearly from 96 to 2010. In the early 2000s, he became a reality television star when he appeared in the MTV reality show The Osbournes, which was from 2002 to 2005, alongside Sharon and two of their children, Kelly and Jack. He co-starred with some of his family in the television series Ozzy and Jack's World Detour 2016 to 2018, as well as The Osbournes Want to Believe. And that was 2020 to 2021 for The Osbournes Want to Believe. And this is coming from Wikipedia. So there are just so many chapters in this. They have his early life, talking in depth about John Michael Osbourne was born at the maternity hospital in Marston Green, then Warwickshire on December 3rd, 1948, and grew up in Ashton area, Birmingham. His mother Lillian was a non-observant Catholic who worked at a Lucas factory. His father, John Thomas Jack Osbourne, worked night shifts as a toolmaker at the General Electric Company. Osbourne had three older sisters, and it kind of goes into, where he lived, and that he actually dealt with dyslexia at school as well. His accent was described as brummy or broomy, or maybe that, I'm not sure how they would say that or pronounce with that. And it goes into some really deep stuff. I'm just going to go right back into just the musical career because it gets into some pretty personal, in-depth stuff, and I'm not about doing that. I just want to talk about his musical career and TV stuff. So with you guys, this is Black Sabbath. Again, we've kind of already done the Black Sabbath stuff, but this on Wikipedia kind of goes into a little more detail. In late 1967, Geezer Butler formed his first band, which was Rare Breed, and recruited Osbourne to be the singer. The band played 2 shows and broke up. Osbourne and Butler reunited in another band, Pocatello Blues, again, which included guitarist Tony Iommi and drummer Bill Ward, whose band Mythology had recently broke up. They renamed the band Earth, but after being accidentally booked for a show instead of a different band with the same name, they decided to change the band's name again, settling on the name Black Sabbath in August 1969. The band's name was inspired by the film, so this is kind of going into the same here, but yeah. And it kind of goes all into, what I just read on Spotify for Black Sabbath. So with all of that, we're going to get into this look together. This is one of the things that I absolutely love to do with you guys, is to talk a little bit about the history and bring these musicians, these artists, humanize them, bring them to life, so to speak. And these people that give us this amazing, music, especially with Ozzy, who is just a legend, an icon in him, in his own right. And you could see up until this day, still all over, people are still grieving over his passing. And I feel so wholeheartedly so sad for Sharon and his family, all of his kids, and all his friends, that to lose someone that came through so much darkness. And by all accounts, if y'all know, he shouldn't be here. From how hard he was on his body with the abuse of a lot of things, and accidents on top of it. His body just, and then later on with the illnesses that he struggled with, his body just couldn't take anymore. And so, yeah, I mean, he's just a legend and one of my all-time favorite artists and musicians, songwriters. So let me know in the comments, when did you first hear your very first song or album from Ozzy? In the comments, let me know, because I would love to hear from you. And what is your favorite song? And the two songs that I'm picking, I stated in the beginning of this video, is Mama, I'm Coming Home. And I think I also chose Crazy Train, I think, too. But I think, you know, See You on the Other Side is an appropriate song to choose as well. So I really wish I could play these songs while we create these looks in the background. The last time I did that, number one, it was only a minute long, and it was off of the YouTube library, but I got a partial copyright anyways, and it was partially blocked. So I give up. I don't know. I give up with that. But Jolie Beauty was so fortunate to be able to have this amazing opportunity and experience to do this collaboration collection with Ozzy Osbourne. And again, I will pop a picture up here of the whole collection. But once again, here's the palette, and I'm gonna read the back before we get into finishing off this look, and I'm gonna tell you what I used. Very simple how I got to this part right here. So this is Osmosis, a 28 shade palette inspired by the life and legend of Ozzy Osbourne. Each color is a chapter in his story, from the smoky streets of Birmingham to center stage under screaming lights. Crafted with high-performance mattes, metallics, foils, and multichromes, Osmosis lets you blend through decades of rock history, one swipe at a time. And of course, here's Railroad of the tracks, which I just love this. And right here, I'm gonna put his passing date here, because once this is outdated, it's definitely going in a shadow box for sure. This is cruelty-free, vegan. Down here, born in Birmingham, 1948. Down here, Black Sabbath forms, 1968. Here, goes solo in 1980, Blizzard of Oz in 80, Mary Sharon, 82, Bat Incident in 82, No More Tears, 91, Ozfest, 96, The Osbournes in 02, The Quad Bike Incident in 03, Black Sabbath Reunion, 2013, Ordinary Man, 2020, Patient Number 9, 2022, Back to the Beginning with Black Sabbath, before he died in 2025, and right here, Ozzy Osbourne and Jolie Beauty collaboration 2025. So this is awesome. I believe the palette does cost, it's either $66 or $62. One of the two, don't quote me on that. I do believe you can use a creator's code. I do not have a code with Jolie Beauty because, again, this is my first time trying Jolie Beauty's formulas, and I gotta tell you, it, at least with this palette, is gorgeous. Let me know in the comments, do you have any of Jolie Beauty's palettes? I guess they have blushes as well. So I'm really intrigued moving forward in trying more from this brand. And here it says, I'm going through changes. I'm pretty sure, you know, I've showed this already. Ozzy Osbourne, Jolie Beauty, and of course, this beautiful color story, which again, I will say it again, I think this is not only a beautiful color story, but I think it's very smart, that it's not just red and black and orange or purple and red and black, that this is very versatile. You have yellow, orange, red, cranberry, but you also have different oranges, orange browns, neutrals, cool tones, warm tones. So it's like cool and warm. Just a menagerie of goodness here, and it's versatile. And that's why I kind of wanted to do this look with you guys here, to show you. in the beginning of the video how I did a more glam look. And yes, this one is half glam, half everyday, putting my spin in my, you know, glam on an everyday look. So I had started them the same, and you and I are going to finish this one. And I'm going to show you how I started these, this look. And I took this here, Legacy, which is a cool toned, and we are going to swatch this palette as well. This is like literally the color of my skin on my eyelids, literally. And you can see that just blends right into my skin tone, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna take my bracelets off, and this is probably going to be longer than normal for Music Inside the Makeup, because if you're new, y'all know it lasts anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. Usually it's about an hour. I could see this being an hour to an hour and 15 minutes because I'm swatching the palette as well, talking more because there's, you know, really the two bands, Black Sabbath and OZZY. So, and kind of getting more in depth with that in light of the situation. So I'm going to read off the names to you, and then we're going to swatch the palette together. But of course, so I used Legacy all over the lid. And then I went down here to 1968, which is, and I'll just swatch the ones that I used. And again, that's kind of like my skin tone as well. This is a thinner formula, but they're pigmented, okay? It's just, these just happen to be my skin tone. And I have a serious tan going on. So that was Legacy. And then 1968, and put that in the crease, took this all over, and then this started that in the crease, built it up a little bit, and then went over to Bats, which is this warmer brown, which is like leaning more of the orangey brown. And I put that in the crease. And you can see how pigmented these are. It's just a thinner and a little more drier formula. Didn't have any problems blending, none whatsoever. It's very easy. And so after I had taken Bats, and then I just blended and went back and forth between those three until I was satisfied where I'm at right now. So on this eye, I did take the black, which is Black Rain on here, but I had done the wing and then put Hall of Fame over that. So, but seeing as how I've mentioned Black Rain, I will swatch it. Why not? Now 28 shades. Look at how pigmented, like. So this is this all white matte, which is very pigmented. It's nice. Blizzard, right? I'm just gonna put that there. Let's do this. So this is Blizzard, Undercover, number 9, Sharon, Ozfest, Mr. Crowley. That metallic is craziness, which I used in the look that in the beginning part of this video. Amazing on the outer corner. This burgundy kind of cranberry color is Ultimate Sin. This multi-chrome here is Aston, Madman, Rock Royalty. And Sharon is more of a, like a satin shimmer. Like, it's still a shimmer, but it's very like satin-like. It's not high impact, you know what I mean? But it's just a very satiny kind of shimmer, if you know what I mean? Because it's not a matte. And if it is, then it's very high impact satin matte. So Ultimate Sin, Aston, Madman, Rock Royalty, Osmosis, Scream, Changes, Hall of Fame, Legacy, Rain, Crazy Train, Prince, Hollywood, Sabbath, Down to Earth, Birmingham, 1968, Ordinary Man, Bats, Hellraiser, what was this? Oblivion, and Black Rain. So this multi-chrome, which is a foil, she's a foily girl. We're gonna go right across. And that was a lot. Did not need that much on my, no, I did not. Which I am so guilty of doing. It's putting way too much. So yeah, she is a foily, but she is, I think, more of a duochrome maybe. And then this matte, like I said, is number 9, which is this brighter orange, but it's not like a neon or a pastel orange. It's just like a lighter orange. It's like muted a little bit. So the multi-chrome Aston might even be a hollow. That's one of my favorites as well in here. Let's see if I turn my mirror on over here. Being able to see some of the shifts. So next to Aston, this is Madman, this light beigey brown, kind of like here. And then this orange here, which is Osmosis. Right. Legacy, what I started with in the crease, this beautiful muted cool toned gorge right here. Crazy Train, just do 1968. I'm pretty sure I just did that there, but that's okay. Yep. And then we're gonna go over to Bats. It's Bats. And I got Osmosis. And then this is Hellraiser and Hollywood. Now I'm going into the reds and kind of darker. So this is this bright red, Ozfest. And then Changes, which is a more purpley cranberry kind of color. And then Ultimate Sin, which is like a burgundy purple. And then the last two mattes, which is more of the darker berry purple and black. So these last two mattes, this purpley one, so pretty. And then the black. Which we already did this one up here. get it up here, but that's okay. They swatch nice, they wear nice, the longevity is really good. This multi-chrome, oh my gosh. Can you see the shifting with that? Right there. Oof. Look at that. And then this straight up purple shimmer. So creamy. Super sparkly. Oh, maybe it's a duo. It's very creamy, and it's like a black gray base to her. Different shimmers in it, purple shimmer, and look at that. Oh. That's gorgeous. Mr. Crowley, y'all. This right here. Stop it. It's this fiery red, fire orange red. This metallic is just, oh. And then this next multi-chrome, this one's got is like pink peach gold. Shift to like red pink. It's really pretty. And then this shimmer, which is really creamy. This orange coppery. Oh, look at that. And that's Prince. This one. And let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 more shimmers. Shimmer is Rock Royalty and Ordinary Man, multi-chrome. Kind of like, oh gosh. Hello. Look at that. I can tell right now, I knew once I got it was, I will be playing with this palette probably for a couple weeks. I will be doing looks and creating content because this is a gorgeous palette. And not just because it's an Aussie palette, it just is a beautiful color story. And it's just so versatile, it really is. And this is the last two here. And this is Rain. And then this topper shade, which is Foil. And then this one is just the straight, what I have on the lid here. Look at how sparkly. I need to move my lash. Like how sparkly that is. That right there. This reminds me of Deandra's new collection from Divina Cosmetics. See how sparkly that is? The topper shade, like, okay. And then this one. This palette, don't sleep on it, y'all. I will link Jolie Beauty's website for you guys per usual in the description box if you're interested in this collection or any of the pieces, and hopefully none of it's sold out and you'll be able to grab it because this is just, it's gorgeous. Without further ado, we are going to finish off this look. I'm gonna take Legacy, which is this here that I started with my mirror. And I am going to just line my lower lash line. And I know I'm not going to be able to really see this, but if anything, it lightens up my under eye. and it will blend in nicely with the other shadows. And then I'm going to go into 1968, which is this one here. Kind of just going to do the same that I did in the crease on my brow bone, and building that up and blending those together. And I'm just going to put a black liner in my waterline. And now I'm going to go into this brown here, which is Bats. And I'm going to blend that in. This one I'm trying to get real close to my lashes here. And now I'm going to go into the dark, which is Hellraiser. And it's this one over here. Really, really close to the lashes, and blending that in with the rest here. And I do put shadow in my waterline. I don't suggest anybody else doing that, but these are my eyeballs, so I'm gonna clean off my brush, and I'm gonna go back into that very light color I started with, Legacy. Go in one more time. Wipe my brush off. And I'm gonna just to do some touch-ups, I'm gonna go take my Glam Light brush here from the Friday the 13th. And I'm gonna mix Legacy and a little bit of 1968. Just to do a little touch up here on the outer edge, just because this has been sitting for a little bit. I just want to fine tune this and blend a little bit more. And then I'm going to wipe off my brush, go into Legacy. And I did put Legacy all over my lid too. And the inner corner as well. Like so, just so it's really light. I'm gonna go back in with a pencil brush. This is my BK Beauty. I think it's a 207. Yes. And I'm gonna go into Hellraiser, which is the dark brown, deepening up the outer corner, what I lost from blending in my crease. I've been forcing myself to use other brushes than just my cinch brushes. I've become a little too just relying on them, and I want to be able to use other brushes and not just continue to use my cinch brushes, even though those are like my faves next to my Sigmas. So now that I kind of deepen that up, I'll take my Sigma. This is a blender, and this is the E25. Again, go into Legendary. Kind of just lightly blend. And with this look, I'm not gonna put a lash on. I think this, I've mentioned this before, it's not revolutionary. This bubble, colossal bubble, whatever, that went viral on TikTok, but it's okay. And the fact that it gumps up so much on the wand, no, I'm not liking that. But I'm gonna use it up, so. All right, I'm gonna take the new Morphe, and I'm gonna take the black, which is called Black Rain, and I'll put this in my waterline and tight my lashes here. I don't want the black to take over. I just want to give that smoky effect. It's because there's a blank spot right here. That's good. It's good. Because I did not use glitter glue over here, but I am going to use glitter glue. You know what? I'm not going to use glitter glue, because if you've been with me for a minute, you know I like to do that when I get a new palette or try a new brand or something like that. I won't use glitter glue in the beginning, and for one look, and then another look I will, to see how they wear and the impact they give without glitter glue. Use the white matte on the inner corner, just because why not? Take this is the E11. Look at how that picks up. Love. Just to brighten the inner corner even further. Rich, smoky look, so just going to brighten the inner corner more. Should probably turn that off. That way I can really see what I'm doing here. Okay. Now that we got that, I'm gonna take the black liner. All right, so now that I have black liner, I'm going to put, I think I'm gonna use 2 of the multi-chromes on my lid, but I'm gonna put this just a little bit on the brow here, because y'all know I never skip this step. That, kind of bringing it down. Woo. Did you see that shift, the green? That's gorgeous. And I'm gonna stick that on the inner corner too, why not? So pretty. Because I do hope that you grabbed your brushes, and if you have this palette, hopefully you grabbed it and your brushes and playing with me, you know what I mean? Creating with me. Or shopping your stash to find a similar palette, color story, you know what I mean? To have fun. All right, so I'm gonna take my finger. Here we go. I do want to use the black before I do anything. So I'm gonna take a pencil. This is one of the new Morphe brushes. I just feel like that wasn't deep enough. I kind of thought the same when I was over here. That brown just wasn't deep enough for my liking. Just to soften that edge. like that. And I just put lip oil on. I didn't even use lip liner, which I could have, like put this cool tone on Earthly Cosmetics. This is Cursed. And then I have this ABH, which is this brown. Or I have this red. That's not gonna work. Or this ABH mauve one. I think I'm gonna go with the brown. I think I'm gonna mix it. Put this right here. Just to kind of go next to the black. Look at that. Good. Go in again. Kind of V this in. That's pretty. It gives nice depth with a slight bit of shine. Okay, so mind you, I'm not using glitter glue. While I have, I'm going to that black. I'm gonna spray that foily girl here, which, what did I say? Ordinary Man. Multi-chrome here. And kind of mix this. That did it. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Re-intensify that orange in the middle here. I wasn't expecting. Okay, so for me, yes, this is an everyday look, y'all. Okay. And I tried to keep it on the low, you know what I mean? Take that away. This could definitely be an everyday look. It's not like it's way over the top glam. I'm gonna put some mascara on. I'm not gonna put a lash on because I think this would look just everyday look without a lash to complete this look. So I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, this came out so pretty. And I love this palette. And this is by Jolie Beauty, the collaboration with Ozzy Osbourne. Rest in peace, Prince of Darkness. Thank you for the decades of awesome fucking music. Keep rocking up there. We love you and we're gonna miss you. And for you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed Music Inside the Makeup. This special Music Inside the Makeup for this month of August. Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath. So, and Jolie Beauty, y'all nailed this. They nailed it. The collection is beautiful, the palette is gorgeous, and this is versatile. So with that, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're new, I hope you subscribe. I hope you stay a while. Please do like, share, and comment because it truly does help out my channel, and I would love to hear from you. Did you get this on launch? Do you just have the palette, or did you just get, you know, the collectible stuff? And your thoughts on it and on these looks. So with that, again, Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Keep rocking. Till next time.